Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Axer and the off-road cycle. Before I go too far into this, I want to make a quick comment to my viewers. I know when I posted Gut Cruncher a few months back that I did get some negative feedback for posting an Action Master, as many in the line do consider the Action Masters blasphemous to the toy line. Now, while I understand your feelings, you have to remember that when I did my review of Megatron, my first video, I did say I was going to go through all of them. So that means I'm going to go through the Action Masters as well. If you're not an Action Master fan, then please disregard this video and come back next week. There won't be an Action Master next week, I promise you that. So, moving right along, like we said, this is Axer. He's a Decepticon bounty hunter, and he was released in 1990 during the final year of the run here in the United States. He would be discontinued in 1991, and as far as I'm aware of, for the final year or two that the line was still available in other parts of the world, we did not get a replacement for Axer. Well, Axer is one of the medium-sized Action Masters, as he came with the small off-road cycle. Axer himself is just like any other Action Master. As you can tell just by looking at the chest here and seeing a wheel here on the side of his leg, I think we can assume that Axer transformed into some sort of car. The mold for Axer himself was reused in 1991 for the European exclusive Circuit, which I've unfortunately lost out on my opportunities on eBay to get him. Axer has the typical articulation for an Action Master. You can turn his head from side to side. His arms do rotate at the shoulder, all the way around. His legs are held together by a metal eye bar. It does allow him to be put in a seated position. It's a little hard to get him to do it one leg due to the fact that the metal tends to degrade the plastic, and you can bend his knees. The unique feature about the small vehicled Action Master guys is that a part of the vehicle can be used as a shield. In the case of Axer here, he can use the rear seat cover, or pillion in this case, as a shield. It restricts his arm movements a little bit, but all in all, it's not too bad. There are worse ones, believe me. Some of the others are considerably worse, but Axer's here isn't too bad. Put this back here on the back of the bike. Oops, knocking the missiles off here. Axer's eager to go hunting. Hunting season just opened up around here, folks. Now, get him onto the bike. Need to get his gun off of here. And it attaches over here on this side. Raise his arms up. Spread his legs a little and move him forward to get him on. And we get his left hand to hit the handlebars. The instructions kind of show that you could probably bend his arms to hit the other one. And we need to bend his legs a little bit. Disengage the sidecar there. But since that would create some unnecessary and undue strain on the arms, I find it easier just to connect the left fist onto the handlebar and let his right fist rest on the gun. Now we remount the sidecar. And the bike stays pretty stable. Looks kind of silly on there, but that's mainly due to the very limited articulation. You would have thought that the company that put out G.I. Joe figures and their multiple points of articulation, they'd have done a better job with their Transformer equivalent here, but sadly to say, they didn't, so we'll get it on a full frontal view here, and I'm really not going to describe how that looks here, folks, since I know I'm trying to keep this as a family-friendly channel, and I do know I have some young viewers. So we'll leave that to your imaginations. Axer here can take a partner with him on the sidecar. The sidecar of this panel here on the sidecar. Don't move, Axer. Folds down. After it disconnects again. This toy's seen a little bit of wear here, folks. Get back in there. Axer here doesn't really like cooperating. Kind of like most bounty hunters. Get him back in there. I'm not putting that missile back in. I'm done fighting with it. But right here, there's a little post. And it can hold foot peg. It basically doubles as a foot peg. So just take another figure. We'll go with Soundwave here. And stick the post into one of his feet. Somewhere. Alright, come off again. And we'll put it back in and complete the look. Knock off the other missile. Forget it. Looks a little cluttered there, folks. But if nothing else, Soundwave can cover him from this side. All in all, a little bit weird, but not too bad. In case any of you might be wondering, bike rolls fair, mainly due to the way the wheels are set up. The front wheel has a little mini wheel underneath it as it's static. The sidecar's wheel is up a little high, and the back wheel of the bike rotates down for the transformation, so it's not exactly the best. Moving right along, we're going to transform the motorcycle into its alternate mode. To start with, we need to remove Axer himself. Get him out of the way. And remove all the weapons and accessories from the bike. As you can see, without the sidecar, the bike really doesn't stand up too well. Alright, to transform the motorcycle, we start by grabbing the rear of it and bump it up a notch. You grab the rear wheel, I'm going to pull it out slightly around the plastic and rotate it backward. So it sits sideways like this. It's on a hinge so that it can be adjusted as necessary. Then next, we're going to take the front wheel here and we split it open and spread it out all the way. Then next, we're going to press this black bar here on the engine, and it's going to make the exhaust pipes pop forward like that. And then next, you will take the seat rest piece and then plug it into this hole down below the engine. And then you can adjust the wheel and the seat rest until it sits stable. Additionally, you can also take the sidecar and attach it here to the side. And then next you will attach the missiles. Now the missiles can either be plugged into these three holes here in the sidecar, or you can plug them into the exhaust pipes, which is where I'm going to stick them, since these are the cannons for it. I'm going to plug the seat rest back in, a little harder this time. And then lastly, to finish the look off, give Axer the gun and stand him next to it. Stand up straight, kid. And there you have it. Axer's alternate mode, or at least the off-road cycle's alternate mode, a pom-pom cannon. That's what it says in the instructions, despite the fact that most of us, when we think of pom-poms, we think of cheerleaders. Unfortunately, this is what we get. Cheerleaders like Juliet Starling not included. Now we'll take a quick look at Axer's accessories. Starting with, of course, the off-road cycle. As you can see, there is a fair amount of decals on this thing. A couple bits of flame job. The bike sort of resembles a chopper-type motorcycle. Not really enough detail to identify what exact motorcycle it's copying. Of course, by then, Hasbro was no longer using real-world vehicles. And of course, right here, where you'd normally see the gauges and such, you have another flame job with the Decepticon insignia. It's about the only way, if Axer's not around with it, that you'd know it's a Decepticon vehicle. And of course, you have with it the sidecar. Not much really to it, folks. Like I said, these holes could be used. You can just plug a missile in there as an added effect. It's all hollow here on the back side. Over here on this side, this is where you get a little bit of engine detail. Almost as if the thing could be self-propelled or something, or maybe that's the controls for firing the missiles out of it or something. But this is a close-up shot of the platform that Soundwave was standing on just a little while ago. Like I said, this is all just on a hinge, so since it's a closed hinge, shouldn't have any trouble with it breaking off, unless you really want to break it off. And then next we have the seat rest, or in proper terms, it's a pillion. Don't ask how many that is. It's just a piece of plastic. It's got a big post on the bottom that connects to the motorcycle, or the pom-pom cannon. Not much detail in the back, except for the small post that goes in Axer's hand if you want to use it as a shield. Which, as you saw, you can only really do that when the bike is, when it's in motorcycle mode. Pick it up off the floor. And here is Axer's rifle. Nothing real fancy about it. It's just an ordinary rifle. Looks kind of silly. And then lastly, he has two of these missiles. Really no detail on them, aside from the side fins. On the bottom side, of course, there is a hole which is used to connect them to the front motorcycle tire. And that is all of his accessories. Moving right along now, we will take a look at Axer's instructions. This was done in the new style that they were doing in 1990 with the new Action Master logo. The front picture basically has him on the motorcycle, and the second one has the pom-pom cannon. On this page you have all the accessories, and then it starts to show you how to fit him and onto the motorcycle and how to accessorize it up. And of course, on this page, we have a fragmented sentence here: to place Axer figure on sidecar. Obviously, whoever wrote these didn't pass their English class. And now we start on the pom-pom cannon. Flip it around to the other side. There we go. And then down here, it finishes it off, and it notes here that the seat rest could be used as a shield. Then we get to the stickers. You notice down here that to point out that's the seat rest. Probably a good idea. On the last page, we have the showing of the newly done robot points, despite the fact that by now we did not have any mail-away offers, so the robot points were kinda needless. And then we also have a mention of how to read the tech specs, even though it's using the wrong style of tech spec for that year. Now, instead of going straight to the tech specs, I got a real bonus for you, my friends. We've got Axer in the box. Now, this one is a sealed box. You look at it, and when you consider what we got as the toy, this looks more impressive than how the toy finally came out. I mean, the gun looks like it's more the Gatling style gun. It looks a little bit meaner, a little nastier. Of course, it's obviously a bullet shooting gun, since we've got spent shells coming out over here. And you can see why I chose Soundwave to ride with him. In fact, you take a look, the pictures here of Axer don't match up with each other, so obviously he went through some changes before they finished him off. Up here at the top, you can see the basic changeover between the two. And down here at the bottom, they just have a picture of him with the motorcycle and lists what he came with. Even though they incorrectly label that he comes with an engine cover / shield, when the shield is his seat rest. This is more describing some of the accessories for Prowl, since Prowl's turbo cycle had an engine cover that was his shield. And here on the side of the box just shows the same thing on the top. Same thing over here with the other side. Yeah, this side's not sealed. Why don't we open it up, take a look. That's nothing fancy in here. Just another one all in bag and such. Thought it was something nice here, folks. Guess it's a second Axer. May as well gut him and keep the box for myself then. Alright, moving right along. How embarrassing. Right here we have the power plans that they did new for the Action Masters during this year. I've never really understood the whole purpose on these. I mean, we'll bring it a little closer so you guys can read it. Never really understood this thing that they added, folks. It's just another thing for us to go nuts and collect. but none of it really makes any sense whatsoever. Move it over here and you can see the 1990 Action Master mural. Looks pretty intense, just unfortunately the final product in many collectors' eyes did not win over. Over here we have the robot points. Axer was worth 2.5 points. And then right down here we get into his tech spec. We got a picture of Axer, which the upper part of it matches the inset picture here on the front of the box. It's done in purple above him to list him as a Decepticon. It gives his name as Axer, and his function is Bounty Hunter. Now, Bounty Hunter in the modern days usually works with bail bondsmen in tracking down fugitives who have jumped bail and skipped town and need to be brought back. In this case, Axer's being designed more along the lines of the bounty hunters seen in the old westerns, like the classic western TV series Wanted, Dead or Alive. Or he also harkens into the bounty hunters frequently seen in Star Wars, like Boba Fett, where they'll get hired by anybody to track down somebody that they want found. Thank you for coming today, Boba. We know you're busy. Getting back to his tech spec, Axer's motto is, "No prey is too large, no fee is too small." Axer learned his craft hunting down microchip smugglers in the slag swamps of Cybertron. His custom-designed all-terrain turbo cycle, again, they have this wrong, it should be off-road cycle. The turbo cycle came with Prowl, is equipped with heat-seeking proton missile batteries, quadraphonic sonic blasters, and a magnetic lock target destabilizing rifle, and converts to a dual photon cannon battle station. Now that's also incorrect because it becomes a pom-pom cannon as the instructions state, and there's nothing that really explains where the sonic blasters are, or if this gun is the sonic blaster, or if that be the case, where is the destabilizer rifle? That, I believe, is what is his gun, so where do these sonic blasters come from? Anywho, moving on to the tech spec. As I stated earlier, they showed the wrong ones on the instructions. They were going with the horizontal bar graph that was done in 1989, whereas here in 1990, they went with a vertical bar graph for some reason. Anyway, it lists his strength as 6, his intelligence 8, his speed 3, his endurance 9, his rank is 7, his courage and firepower are 8, and his skill is 10. So I guess Axer would definitely be benefiting from having Boba Fett with him. They're both pretty skilled bounty hunters, but Axer suffers from being rather slow on that off-road bike of his. Either that or he needs to go jogging a few times. Now we get down to, what do I think of him? Well, I wish I could give a more positive light to him like I did with Gut Cruncher, but Axer's a little harder to like. In the More Than Meets the Eye guide, it does talk that Axer was something of a decent character. He honed his skills as a freelance peacekeeping agent on Cybertron. He enjoys the job, though, not for the pay. He enjoys more the scared looks on his targets' faces. So he willingly joined up with the Decepticons and stopped being what he refers to as a peacekeeper and shifted to full-time bounty hunting and assassination. And that's where it gets it wrong with him. If he's not willing to hunt them down to bring fugitives in for justice, he's not really a bounty hunter per se in the more modern sense. He's more like a contracted killer for the Decepticons, and I think he would have benefited more having that listed as his function as an assassin. But more than likely, the powers that be at Hasbro decided that bounty hunter would sound less threatening and less violent to get the parent groups to come after them any more than they already are. In the case for Axer, it's also mentioned that he gladly took a pay cut from being a bounty hunter because he enjoys more being able to kill his targets. That makes him come off, once again, back to a Star Wars reference, he comes off more like the character Montross from the Bounty Hunter video game released back in 2002. In the first scene where we see Montross, we find him chasing down his target, who pleads with the bounty hunter, claiming that he's worth more alive. Montross just calmly tells him, "You're worth enough dead," before gunning him down. And that sounds to me more like Axer is. As for the toy, it's okay. It's certainly not a top-tier toy, but I don't want to totally disregard it as a bottom-tier toy, but it does come pretty close to it. I guess it more depends on how you want to look at the toy itself. I mean, the motorcycle mode, it looks okay. It's not perfect by any means. I mean, a little more action features on it, like some suspension springs to make it really look like an off-road motorcycle, would have probably benefited it a bit. But as it is, I'm likely to say he belongs down towards the top end of the bottom tier. He's not really an exciting figure, especially given the fact that he's a new one to the line at the time he was introduced. So there's nothing really to go back on. He doesn't really do his function due to it being associated more with bad guys than what the role truly is all about. And such, play wear on the toy from almost 30 years has kind of affected my opinion of this toy. It doesn't hold up very well together. It looks rather silly when it's got an extra guy. The pom-pom cannon really doesn't impress. Yeah, it's a bottom tier figure all the way, folks. And that concludes my review of the 1990 Decepticon Bounty Hunter Axer and his off-road cycle. If you like the video, please thumbs up it here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button down below. Post a comment, share this video with your friends and fellow collectors, and help keep this channel going. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.